What is your reaction? It's been a few days, but to the Supreme Court's COLA ruling.
Fantastic. If 60% or so of the savings, of the $120 billion in savings over 30 years that we will receive from the reforms we did back in 2011 came from the suspension of the COLAs, if that went away, the very public workers that filed that lawsuit, they would rue the day that they won it, because it would move us closer to insolvency. And if public workers think that when we hit that point, if we hit that point of insolvency, that they will be completely protected, that their pensions will be completely protected, their health benefits, they got another thing coming. That just simply won't be the case, because there is nowhere else in the budget. Our best bet is to do reforms like the ones I'm advocating. Get us up to full pension funding as quickly as possible. Get us up to the 80% funding level, which is everybody's target goal, so that we can restore cost of living allowances within a sound system.
But as we're talking, it's a few days since the COLA ruling. I've seen the initial comments. Do you have any additional thoughts in reaction to the ruling?
Well, I think we characterized it as theft, and that's exactly what we meant. We were, people retire. They expect a certain promise from the state to be kept. And the original promise was you would have a pension and you would have a cost of a living adjustment, not even the full cost, just 60%, a little more than half of it. That was taken away from people not only that were planning to retire, but that have already retired. Mm-hmm. So, you're asking people whenever they retire and plan to live 10, 20 years, don't worry about any other cost in living or change in prices. They'll all stay the same according to the state.
My greatest fear is dealing with those who had just recently retired. I mean, here you've made essentially a life decision based on a certain expectation, as Wendell said. And so imagine you retired in 2010 after a 35, 40-year career in public education, and literally the year later, that benefit and the long-term prospect of that benefit has changed. And you may live another 30, 35 years. So those are the folks that I really fear for.
I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I am a former proud NJEA card carrying member.
I was going to ask you about that. I saw that in your background. Where did you teach?
I taught at West Morris Mendham High School. So, I feel like a certain part of me gets it. But had that COLA ruling gone in your favor, that would have exacerbated an already huge pension problem in terms of the budgetary standpoint. Is that the way you see it? And if not, how do you see it?
Yes. I mean, obviously, reestablishing the COLA would have added to the unfunded liability of the pension systems. There are wild numbers flying around as to how much, but we guesstimate it somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe another 20%. The bottom line, though, is that this is a very long-term issue and will be resolved over a very long-term stream of payments. So not to say that it doesn't matter, but we still have a large problem to solve either way.
And the problem with that was, the law says that once these funds are above 80% funding, then the COLA will return, which really means you better be at 85% because it's going to take a hit on it right away. But again, if these pension systems would have been funded along over the last 20 years, you wouldn't have to be having this discussion because they would be above 80%.